Lead away, filming lady.
Hello friends, and welcome back to Sincerely Keelani. My name is Keelani, and I make videos about my chaotic sewing journey and my lifestyle as a stay-at-home girlfriend trying to use her college degree to make a small business. We are continuing my mini vlog series about our trip to Oahu, Hawaii, and today I'll be going over 5 things you should know, as well as some tips for visiting Pearl Harbor and Ford Island. Disclaimer: I am no expert in terms of travel, Hawaii, or war history. If I use incorrect terms or get some information wrong, I am only human. The research done for this video is from my personal experience from visiting the harbor and the websites given down below. To start us off, I'm going to give you 2 tips before you even get there. Number 1 is that Pearl Harbor is an active military base and your GPS does not know that. If you're traveling on the highway, you will want to get off at the Arizona Memorial Stadium highway exit and then turn on to Arizona Memorial Place, as this will be the way to the entrance to Pearl Harbor Visitor Center and parking lot. If you pass by the Arizona Memorial Place, you will have gone too far and you will end up at Ford Island, which is only accessible for visitors by the free shuttle from the Visitor Center or by military personnel. You will be turned around by an officer on duty if you are not part of these 2 groups and travel back to the main entrance. Number 2 is that since this is an active military base, there is a no bag policy. You are allowed to carry a water bottle, snacks you can fit in your pockets, as well as cameras and GoPros. The only time you cannot record or take photos is on the shuttle to Ford Island. If you're worried about eating while at the parks, there are a plethora of snack shacks, food trucks, and small restaurants near each museum area you visit. So first thing to know is that there are different ways to visit. The first way is to just visit the Pearl Harbor Visitor Center, which includes a memorial, 2 museums, a gift and snack shops, and a museum about the attack. As it is considered part of Hawaii's national parks, there is a $7 a day fee for parking, but admission to this section is completely free. The second way to visit is by paying for individual museums or getting one of the packages available for purchase. Nathan and I did the Passport to Pearl Harbor, which cost $90 American each and included admission to the USS Bowfin Submarine and Museum at Pearl Harbor Visitor Center, and the USS Missouri Battleship, the Aviation Museum, and the USS Oklahoma and Utah Memorials on Ford Island, as well as a bonus VR experience and the audio tour. You can also add a visit to the control tower for a discounted price when you get the passport. You can pay for each of these separately, but if you're planning on visiting all 4 areas, I suggest getting the pass to make things easier. So tip number 3 is that the free admission to the visitor center and the passport do not include the USS Arizona Memorial. The USS Arizona Memorial is a boat ride that takes you out to the battleship that was sunken with most of its crew inside on the day of the attack. In order to visit, you will need to hope that there will either be walk-up space for the next boat, which could have you waiting in line if it's a busy day, or to make your visit less stressful, you can make a reservation either 8 weeks in advance or the day before. It costs $1 per reservation, and there are 8 time slots throughout the day when you can start booking, starting at 8:45 and ending at 3:15. If you reserve 8 weeks in advance, only certain times will be available, and if you choose to reserve the day before, the reservations open at 3 p.m. Hawaii time and will include all times still available for the following day. Nathan and I had to reserve the day before since we didn't decide the day that we were going to visit until it was too late. To our luck, we were in our layover in Vancouver waiting to board the plane when the reservations opened up, so we were able to quickly snag those and head on to our second flight. Number 4 is that I did not realize that the reservations don't include the Pearl Harbor movie. This movie is part of the free section of the park and has a separate standby line with viewing times at the quarter after the hour and the quarter to the hour. The second thing to know is that if you're going to do the passport, this will be a full day experience. We got there at around 7:30 a.m., which was half an hour after opening, and we stayed till just about close around 4:30 p.m. We spent about an hour and a half to 2 hours in each area and were able to get through everything except the VR experience, which was included in the passport, and the USS Utah and Oklahoma memorials. We also did not pay the extra to go up to the control towers on Ford Island, as this wasn't a big interest of ours. So tip number 5 is that if you're a lover of history and enjoy reading everything at museums, you may want to consider multiple days. Nathan and I did have to rush through the 2 free museums while we waited for our USS Arizona memorial visit, as we prioritized the areas we paid for on our passport. The third thing to know is to come prepared to spend most of your day outside, rain or shine. Although there are indoor museums and the free shuttle that takes you from the visitor center to the museums on Ford Island, most of the areas included have an outdoor section as well. We had all the different types of rain during our visit, and it was easy to get out of the heavy rain by going into the museums. But a little rain helps to cool you off, so don't be afraid to ditch the plastic poncho in favor of getting a little wet. Otherwise, wear your sunscreen, hat, sunglasses, and comfy shoes. And with that comes tip number 6, and that is to dress appropriately. It's Hawaii. It's hot and sunny, so most people will be dressed to absorb the sun rays as much as possible. However, when visiting the memorials and museums, think about where you are. Outside the park is your vacation, but inside is the resting place for those who lost their lives that day, as well as it being an active military base. So dress modestly. Maybe leave the beachwear for your other days of vacation. The fourth thing to know is that there are some difficult areas to walk through. The USS Bowfin submarine and USS Missouri battleship are naval crafts that you get to explore. The USS Bowfin has steep stairs and small doorways that connect the different areas of the main level of the submarine you get to explore. Please note that due to safety concerns, children under the age of 4 are not permitted in the submarine. For me, being only 5'2", I could easily step through the doorways without crouching, but if you're taller, there may be a little bit of crunching in order to get through the doorways. On the submarine, you get to walk through the main level where a lot of the daily life occurred. It is crazy to think that up to 80 men would be living and working in these tight quarters. The USS Missouri offered more space as it held up to 800 men and was a battleship. In order to see the whole ship, you have to climb up and down some steep and short metal stairs. They aren't long flights, but they are exposed to the elements, so it is something to consider if you're traveling with people who may have conditions that would make this difficult. There are accessibility ramps to the main deck of the ship and an elevator available that goes from the main deck up to the surrender deck, but no further. So the majority of the ship is not accessible if you are unable to do any stair climbing. The fifth and final thing to know is to plan your day ahead of time. So tip number 7 is to visit during the week and go for opening. Like most places, it's less busy first thing in the morning and during the week rather than on weekends. We went on a Thursday and had the USS Bowfin Museum to ourselves for most of the time that we were there, as it was the first museum we visited. Our suggestion is to leave plenty of time for the USS Missouri, as it is your largest place to explore with the 3 different levels. With the main and the upper deck, there's also the lower deck, which seems to have never-ending corridors. It would be super easy to spend all your time just absorbing the information and history that the battleship has to offer. Otherwise, plan to spend 1 to 2 hours in other areas. We personally found the Aviation Museum and Hangar to be the place where we spent the least amount of time. This area houses planes and other military vehicles, as well as the original hangar that still has the glass with the bullet holes in it for you to see during your visit. Tip number 8, conversely though, is that the Aviation Museum does have what I consider to be the best souvenir for only 26 cents, which would be the pressed penny machine. I have been collecting pressed pennies whenever I find them on vacation, and I was able to get a couple in Hawaii to commemorate the trip with, which made me very happy. But of course, it is hard for me to say definitively how much time you need everywhere, as we didn't get to do absolutely everything that they had to offer, and I am not you. But understanding where your interests lie will help you determine where to go. My final tip, number 9, is that when you're planning, refer to the museum's open and closing times. The USS Bowfin Museum opened at 7 a.m. with the visitor center, but some of the areas on Ford Island don't open until 8 or 9 a.m. If you're ending your trip on Ford Island, you also have to ensure that you get back to the visitor center by closing time, and each museum has a different time in which the last shuttle leaves. So be sure to check with their respective websites or ask someone at the visitor center to get all your timing information. While walking through Pearl Harbor, I was constantly awed when seeing what the men went through and did to keep the submarines and battleships going on a daily basis and during fighting times. I will never truly understand the strength and willpower and work that they went through, but it gave me even more respect for those who fought and those who are fighting in our militaries. This awareness is something which I would hope most people would have after their visit to these historic sites. And there you have it. Those are my need to know tips and tricks for your visit to Pearl Harbor and Ford Island. In the description, you'll find links to the different websites so you can start planning your visit. Most of the information I've given you in terms of logistics is on their website, so be sure to check out the Plan a Visit and FAQ sections for more information or clarification. I hope this has helped you understand what to expect from your visit to Pearl Harbor, and I will see you in the next Hawaii video on Waimea Falls. Bye guys! Oh my goodness.
What?
These men.
See those round ones?
Those manly men.
Yeah.
Those are the men we need. And you're one of them. Like, look, it's so cute.
To the bridge.
I feel like I'm in Uncharted.
When we go through the German submarine in the first game,
Yeah.
how you felt in the song.
Yeah. Or like, this feels like the most recent game that we're playing.
Yeah, when we're on the one ship.
Yeah, and we're trying to rescue Sully.
Am I allowed?
Go to the submarine.
Okay, come on.
The gauges.
There you go.
I think you did very well.
Yeah, look at it.
Can you go in? Can you get my name?
I wouldn't let me, Brandy.
Okay, Nathan, go.
Get on the wheel.
Bridge.
Alright.
Of the beach roll. The mothers of the beach.
There's lots of stuff here.
My mom and your mom.
And it's small.
Well, she's got
Like
a
you.
full-time job.
Yes.
It's not just me.